Right. So, everybody, welcome. I am Courtney from Heroes Financial Coaching, and I'm here today with Rebecca, the proud police wife, and Laura Noonan, a physician wife, and mom to two little boys, and a beauty counter consultant. Each of these women here today have spouses with very strange schedules, long hours, and are the primary caretakers for their children. Another fun thing about us is that all of us have found ways to bring in extra money for our family through different ways that work for us. And so we're holding this workshop today in hopes that we can give you some encouragement to pursue your talents and skills in a way that blesses your family. An old proverb says that the wise woman builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. So we know that you are all here today, and for those who join us in the future, to build up your home and to make it a strong, safe place for your family. And we hope that these ideas will give you a springboard to pursue a side gig to help you build up your home. So I want to encourage you, though, that the current job you're doing, whether it's paid or unpaid, is so valuable. And I think oftentimes in today's age, especially for those who maybe are at home with little kids and are not making an income, it's easy to forget that what you're doing is very valuable and rewarding. And so, as we talk about pursuing a side gig, I just want to let you all know that we think that what you are doing, whether it's another job and you're trying to add something or you're not currently working outside of the home and getting paid, that what you're doing is so important, and we're here to support you with that. You're leaving a legacy by the work you do every day, especially the service that never ever sees a paycheck. So these are just simply some tools that you might find helpful if you're wanting to pursue something extra that can work around your schedules and your family's needs. So today I am going to be sharing about side gigs that you can start this week and a few financial tips to help you as you start your side gig. So Rebecca then will be sharing about the number one thing that you need to be successful. And Laura will talk about how she's helped supplement her family's income by being a beauty consultant from home. So after we share all of these, for those of you who are here, we can totally do a Q&A time and see if we can help you specifically with maybe what your skill set is. So let's get started, everyone. So side gigs that you can do this week that you can start and make money fast. So when my husband and I were trying to reach some financial goals of paying off debt, building our savings account, I started doing grocery delivery. And crazy enough, it doesn't seem like you would probably make very much money from that, but we did pretty well. So there's some different companies that you can do this through, but the one that I chose specifically was Spark Delivery, which delivers groceries for Walmart. So I would work about 3 hours a week. I had my baby and my 2-year-old in the car seat, and we would drive up to Walmart. They would load up all the groceries into the back of my car. I didn't have to do it. I would drive to somebody's house and drop them off. And I was picky with which offers I would choose to accept in the app. But I was making on average $25 to $30 an hour, sometimes more than that. So for our family, we only needed to bring in a little bit extra. And I was able to bring in over $100 a month typically by working about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours a week with my kids in the car. Right now, they are not as supportive as having little kids in the car. And so you just want to make sure you go over that if that's something you look at doing. Another one that people do a lot of times that's quick and easy, you can start this week and get going, is DoorDash. And I looked today and saw that they say their Dashers make on average $25 an hour. So again, that's before taxes come out. You don't get benefits or anything like that. But yeah, it's a great side hustle that you can just download the app on your phone and start probably within the next day. It's so easy. And if you just need to bring something in quickly, it's the way to go. So if you're looking to save up for Christmas, try those out, and that might really help you. So I would recommend, though, only delivering in safe areas. I don't know where you live. Where I live, everywhere is very safe here. And so I've never had a concern about where I would go. But depending on the city you're in, this might not be a good choice for you. So just make sure you're considering that. Another thing I want to talk about is, especially if you're crafty, that you can sell items on Etsy. So I know people who make headbands, super cute, really easy. They sell it online and they make money doing that from home. And it's a great way to just use your talent and make some extra cash for your family. They also sell digital items on there too, which is so easy because you make something one time and then it continues to be sold in the future and you're making a passive income at that point. So another really easy way, if you're good at making cute calendars or chore charts, I think we paid like $4 for a chore chart, my own family. And so every time somebody downloads that, that person's making money off of it. So just some easy ways. The last one that I would recommend is if you make homemade products. I know some of the people that I'm following right now, one person makes like hand soap that is beautiful, the soap bars with all these beautiful designs on them. Um, if you have a skill set, go to your local farmers market if you can and sell them there, because then you have a captive audience. People come, they love handmade things. And it's just a great way to use the gifting you have to be able to help your family so you can turn your talent into money. Um, so that's the side gig side of what I want to talk about. The other thing I want to talk about is the financial side. So if you are signing up to do a side gig because you're trying to bring in that extra income for your family, my encouragement is just have a plan for whatever you're going to do with that money. So the old saying goes that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And so make sure you know what you're going to do with your extra cash. Are you going to build up savings, pay off a credit card, or simply just use it for fun money for yourself? Once you get that money coming in, add it to your monthly budget. Be sure that you're doing your best to reach your goals. And if you need help with any of those, just feel free to let me know. That's now what I do after the Spark delivery. It just helps people with their finances. So that's my overview. Spark delivery, using a little skill that you have at a local farmer's market or craft fair, even as winter and the holidays come up. And next we have Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here, Courtney. Thank you so much for having me. I love talking to moms, but also women just about, whether it's like a side hustle or just ways to bring in money or ways to start your own business. So, this is one of my favorite things to do. And I could talk about this stuff all day long. When I first talked to Courtney, we were like talking for, I don't know, an hour just about business stuff. So, it's great. But okay, so I'm going to be talking about the number one thing you need to be successful with a side gig. So, bottom line, no matter what side gig you decide to do, you need to make sure that it aligns with your goals. So, whether your goals are just for yourself or they're financially based or for your family, maybe you just want to contribute a little bit more. I know that when I first started staying home, I kind of felt a little guilty for if going to Target and buying a few things because I knew how hard my husband was working and should we put this money in savings instead? Or, I just felt a little guilty. So having that extra money could be one of your goals. So Courtney shared some great ways that you can get started right away on side gigs. And one thing to remember is side hustles are not one size fit all. Not every side gig is going to be beneficial for everybody. And like she said, like if you're in a not safe area, then maybe you don't want to do DoorDash or something like that. But so you really have to kind of weigh those pros and cons of what's important for you and your family, and bottom line, your goals. So always coming back to making sure that aligns with your goals for why you have a side gig. If you need flexibility, for example, because maybe you're like one of us and you have children and your spouse works a lot of hours and their job is not exactly flexible, they can't just take off and or you can't really even get a hold of them if they're working, then you need to seriously weigh jobs that still allow that flexibility for you. Are you able to kind of fit those hours in when your spouse is home? Or are you able to bring your kids, for example? So I was going to go over just some kind of like good places to start when thinking about what side gig to explore. One is, what prior experiences or degrees do you have? It doesn't have to be some major like biochemist side gig. Like, doesn't have to be this big thing. But I felt like sometimes when I started staying home, yes, I had a teaching career prior, but I had a hard time thinking like, what do I want to do? For me, I wanted to just do something that was my own. Like I kind of felt like I was getting lost within motherhood, and I always wanted to serve the first responder community. So I really had to dig deep as to what my experience was or what I was good at. And for me, that was writing. So that's why I started the blogging avenue. But just think about what experience or what you're good at. Maybe you're an artist, you're really good at drawing. Could you transfer that to people do logos and put it on like the site Fiverr? They pay really big money for that. Like you can go like literally upload something, or you can put your services on there and people will contact you and say, I'd like to have a logo drawn for this is my idea. And you might give two or three examples and you're going to get paid 100, 150, $200 for just one logo. So if you're an artist trying to, whatever skills you have, thinking of ways to transfer those skills, maybe making them digital or getting them online and doing like the Canva thing and making calendars or printables or things like that, putting them on Etsy. And then think about maybe things like what you're passionate about, or what you can realistically do. So, what can you do with the time that you have? And, again, with what your family's goals are. If another thing that's really good to think about is if you have kids, is this side gig going to now make you pay for childcare? Are you paying for childcare that really that money for childcare is just coming from your side gig? So does it just equal out? Um, Maybe that's okay with you. Maybe you just want to get out of the house and do something for yourself, or are there jobs that you can do that just kind of fit in the nooks and crannies of your life? I think all three of us women here, that's kind of what we do. I'm This is the first year all of my kids have been in school, but for 6 years, it's always been at nighttime, on the weekends, early in the morning, or when kids are napping and things like that. So fitting things in when you can. Next is I would recommend just doing your research on what some of these side hustles pay. Kind of make the list of some things that you're thinking about. If you have a financial goal you're working towards, think about whether that goal, it maybe it's paying down debt or saving or just having extra monthly income, like Courtney said, then how much are you going to have to work per week or per month to meet that goal? Because if your goal is really large and you're like, oh, well, this isn't really a side gig, I'm going to have to work maybe 25 hours a week. That's way more than I thought because this doesn't pay very much. So just kind of thinking about those things on how much time you're willing to dedicate, and just being realistic and talking about those things even like with your partner, because having your partner be supportive is huge as well. I told the ladies before we started, like I'm in the bedroom because my husband is out there dealing with all of the things, and that's because he's supportive. And it doesn't always work out like this because sometimes he's working, but having someone there that is rooting for you to bring in that extra income or do something for yourself is just really important. Next is if you want, or excuse me, if you have prior experience or degrees, or you want a side gig to be related to that, know that in most jobs, not things like DoorDash, things that, just pay by hour, but some jobs you can negotiate your pay. So I saw something today, actually, like an hour before we started, that Delta Airlines is hiring for like remote work starting at $31 an hour with no experience. That's with no experience. If you have experience in some sort of, sales or communication, you can negotiate. So just know your worth and know your experience level and what you should be getting paid, because like I can tell you, I go down the rabbit hole of TikTok. I love watching these things where there are people out there that tell you how to negotiate your pay, and it's really interesting. So, but really know that you can negotiate those things depending on what type of job you want to look into. So, kind of coming back to the main goal, which is all of these things need to come back to the goal of why you're doing this, whether that be financially related or you just finding yourself again and getting out of the house, or contributing to your family's income, if that side gig does not 100% support your goal or your family's goals, then you're going to be resentful and you're going to hate it. I remember I tried doing surveys online. I had a friend that did it. She was making like $1,000 a month filling out these surveys. And I thought, I can do that. I hated it. It was awful. It was the worst. I did not want to read about like pimple poppers. And it was like, it was horrible. So I'm like, why do I want to do this? It's not worth this for me. And it was very gross things. So honestly, it will likely, sorry, more than likely it's going to fizzle out and you're not going to stick with it. So really thinking about these things before you move forward so that you're not stuck with something you're just going to hate. So that's it. So let me know at the end if you guys have any questions, and take it away, Laura.
Awesome. Man, you guys are giving me so many ideas. I'm like, I need to be taking notes. I'm literally going to go back and listen to this myself. So anyway, Courtney, thanks for having me. And it was nice meeting you, Rebecca. So my journey with Beauty Counter is a clean personal care company that is a certified B Corp company, which means they do good for the environment and people. My journey with them started 5 years ago when I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I was trying to look for more holistic and natural ways to work on my health rather than just going on to birth control. So I cleaned up my diet and I did all of these internal things. And I realized, man, if I'm paying attention to what I'm putting in my body, I maybe should be aware of what I'm putting on my body, on my skin and my hair and all the personal care products that I was using. So randomly, an ad popped up on my computer and it was for a clean makeup company called Beauty Counter. And I was like super intrigued because 5 years ago, clean beauty was very niche. Very few companies were trying to be clean. So I Googled them and I found out that one of the ways out of several that you can purchase from them is through consultants. And I wanted to talk to someone about my skincare struggles that I was having, which at that time was dry skin, hormonal acne, and just I was living in a humid climate, which was new for me. So I just literally was clueless as what to do with my skincare routine. So I reached out to this lady and she was like, I would love to help you. And so now fast forward 3 years from that moment, I had been following another medical spouse on Instagram. So my husband is a physician, and during that time, he was in medical training. And we were moving around a lot. And I watched this girl share Beauty Counter products on social media. And I was already using the products. And she was like, I'm making an income from sharing these products on my social media. And I love them. Why not be making a kickback from them if I can? There's so many companies out there that, you might share a perfume that you like or something, but you're not getting paid for it when they have the money to pay you. So if they have the money to pay you, you should take them up on that company up on that. So I had been really scared because Beauty Counter is a direct sales model, and I did not want to be one of those girls signing up for a company that was going to make me write a list of 100 friends that I had to go knock on their door to try to get a sale from. I was like, I will never do that. And I contacted this girl who I grew to trust. I loved what she shared. She was very authentic, and she was like, I would never want you to do that. You need to run your business how you want to run it and how it feels authentic to you. And you should never compromise basically your morals or whatever to do this. So I talked to my husband and I was like, I like literally remember the fear in my heart of like, I don't know if I should do this. And he was like, why not? So that was 2.5 years ago. And so 2.5 years ago, I signed up with Beauty Counter, and honestly, like, it's a side gig, but for me, it's more than that. It has also become a community of women that basically follow me, no matter where I move for my husband's training, and they are all moms. All of the ladies that I do this with are all moms. That's their first and foremost job. We all encourage each other daily on Voxer, not only in our role in motherhood, but also in our role in Beauty Counter. So that's kind of my story with Beautycounter. I chose them because they ban over 1,800 ingredients from their products, and they third-party test all of their color cosmetics, which is like, these things like sound like, oh, that's cool, but the crazy thing is no other beauty company in the industry is doing this. So they third-party test with an outside source from their company, all color cosmetics for heavy metals. They source their mica from here in the United States because mica, which is very common in makeup, is most commonly sourced with child labor overseas. And they really wanted to clean up the supply chain. And the cool part is that they're advocating in Washington, D.C. for stricter beauty laws industry-wide so that companies like L'Oreal are held to a higher standard for the ingredients that they're putting in there. They take consultants and they meet in Washington, D.C. with people lobbying for better changes. So that's kind of like a little bit about the company and why I joined it. But the business model, I think is really cool. The more I've known about it and more I've seen how it works and what it's done for me. So all it costs to sign up to get you basically your unique link to share with people, and the back business web page and everything is only $50 flat fee. You do not have to buy products to sign up. I mean, if you're going to share products, I would hope that you're either trying them or using them and liking them before you sign up. So you need to have some products, but you are not required to purchase anything when you sign up, other than the $50 sign up fee. Currently, for the next 2 weeks, it's actually just been dropped down to $20. And new consultants make 35 to 45% commission on anything they sell. So if you sell $100, then you'll make $35. The average sale with Beautycounter is $125. So you can kind of do the math on all of that. So you get that 35 to 45% commission for the first 3 months. And then after your first 3 months, it drops down to 25 to 35%. And those percentages are based all upon how many sales you're making that month. So the more sales you have, the higher percentage that you will make. It is not required to, quote, build a team. I get paid predominantly off of my own work. And honestly, one of the things that Beautycounter has recently done is that if someone signs up as a consultant to do this with me, to have my mentorship, I don't get paid on any of their own purchases. So if they purchase a product for their own use, I don't get paid anything for that, because I don't need to be incentivized to get people to be spending money on products for themselves. That's just not a very ethical business model. So I really appreciate Beautycounter and what they're trying to do. They try to stay ahead of the FTC guidelines. They try to be up and coming, and really just doing good for their consultants, but also for the ingredients that they put in their products. So I know everybody's always like, okay, so do you actually make money? A lot of people ask that, and I'm laugh because I'm like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't make money or if it wasn't worth my time. So for myself, I can personally say that, like, on a month where like this summer, we moved and I really did nothing. I didn't write emails. I didn't post on social media. I did nothing. And my lowest month was $60, just from previous customers that had grown to love the products and were still purchasing. One of my largest months with Beautycounter was $1,800, and that was working part-time. Like, that was not full-time from my home. I didn't need childcare. I was working during nap times and in the evenings. My friend, who is also a medical spouse, she can cover their mortgage plus. And she doesn't have a large social media following. I think she has 2,000 followers on social media, so it's not large. She literally started her Instagram account sharing the food she was eating, donuts and stuff like that. So she just, I think the key to know is it's not quick, easy money, but what it is consistency and time and putting in the work. This is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a become a boss babe and make $1 million within the next year. It's literally empowering women to be able to make an income at home while sharing products that not only are clean, but actually work. Another one of my friends who does this with me, she's actually a military wife. And the reason she started sharing is because the products literally transformed her skin. And she was like, why wouldn't I want to share this with my friends? Just like a link to my favorite coffee, you know? So there's a lot of reasons why women do it, and it can look so different. You don't have to have a social media following if you don't want to run it that way. You can. There's so many ways. I mean, I know food bloggers that do it. It really can fit into any lifestyle as long as you want to make it work and you have a passion for the products and for literally helping other women with their skin, which is I've had a lot of skin insecurity in my life, with birthmarks and acne. And I love empowering women to have products that actually work for their skin. So that's kind of the gist of Beauty Counter.
Awesome. I love hearing just what you guys are doing. And I think the one thing that stuck out to me the most is it's something that you're passionate about and that you care about. And I know for all three of us, building a side gig that is our own business takes a lot of effort and time. What would you guys say? How long did it take for your business to be maybe in your mindset where you felt like you were successful? So for somebody who's looking long term in starting their own business side gig, what would you say? Yeah, how long did it take, and any encouragement you could give them in the waiting process?
So for me, I do blogging, and when I started, I didn't go in with the mindset that this was going to be a side hustle for me. So for me, it was just serving this, the first responder community and doing something that I liked, which was writing. A few months in was when I realized, okay, like if I'm going to spend this much time, let me look into blogging. What does this entail? I didn't even know that you could make money blogging. So I was kind of behind the game initially getting started. I did put about $3,000 like into my business when I got started. And that was literally buying a new computer because it was taking me about 2 hours for my blog to upload because my computer was so old. And so I had to buy a new computer, and I took a blogging course because I didn't understand the tech part of anything. So I needed help with that. And just a few other like businessy type things. So that cost me about $3,000 total. Within 1 year, I made that money back. And I was making money like every month, but there wasn't like a consistent amount. Like I couldn't say like, oh, yep, I'm definitely going to have $500 every month or anything like that. Once I hit year 2 was when I consistently was making an income. And by like 2.5 years, my goal was to replace my teaching income because I desperately did not want to go back to teaching. Like we had said, I was going to stay home for a little bit, and I just did not, I just didn't want to go back. And so my goal was to replace that income, which when I taught after like insurance and stuff, I only brought home $2,100 a month. And that was teaching almost 8 years with a master's degree. And so that was my goal, and mine was to make at least $2,100 a month. So once I hit like 2.5 years, I was getting closer, like pretty close to that mark. It wasn't every single month, but it was more than half of the year. And like other months, maybe it was $1,500 or $1,600. So I would say like a full 2 years before I felt like it was where I wanted it to be. It matched, I was making the amount of money that it matched how much effort and time I was putting into it. And that there's a lot of back end things that you have to do with blogging to just kind of get it started and stuff. But now 6 years in, like I work part time and I make a full time income. So
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think, and you even started before blogging was huge. Nowadays I feel like it's easier to start, and you can look everything up online, or you can hire somebody to coach you through how to do it.
Right.
Whereas when you started, I remember you telling me like, there was nobody who taught me how to do this stuff really.
No, and even when I started, because my blog is Proud Police Wife, there were literally no websites for a couple Facebook pages, and that was it. There was literally no websites out there in my niche. And so people thought, um, I just felt like I just felt alone, like I was on an island alone because there was literally nothing out there. And um I was gonna say people thought I was crazy in a sense, more so like there's nothing out there. You're gonna be the only one. I'm like, that's the point. There's nothing out there. Like, and so it took a long time to even find my people, like if you're a food blogger, you know where to like put your stuff. People are going to find you. People are always looking for recipes. But it took a while for me to find ways to find my audience and have my audience find me, because I was telling the ladies before we started, like I never even, like, Instagram wasn't even big when I started. Like it was a couple years later, and at the time people just did like pictures of themselves. Well, I don't want a thousand squares of just me. Like, like that's not going to reach my audience, or they're not going to know like I'm providing resources for law enforcement families. Like that wouldn't even click. It's not like, Rebecca at the mountains, Rebecca at the beach. Like it just didn't make sense. And so I had to come up with different ways to do that. And so I had to be really creative. And that was kind of using my teaching skills in a sense. Like I taught kindergarten. And so I loved being creative, and I loved making like posters and, different worksheets for my class. And so I just used those same skills to transfer that into making different creative things for my blog, or different memes and things like that. So you just kind of, it takes time to figure out what resonates with your people and how to find your people. So, you know if blogging is of interest to anybody, I'm more than happy to answer questions. If you follow me on Instagram, it's Proud P Wife, but you can message me. And I even do like, I have like a close friends list where I talk about business and blogging, and then it's like all free tips and stuff. And I took a hiatus for the summer, but I'm doing it again now. Just because I love talking about it. And I think too that people think, either one, there's like Pinterest pins out there that say, start blogging today and make $10,000 a month. That's not true. And, or that it, it's really, really hard to do. And now tech, like there's literally every platform out there that can help you. It's not nearly as hard as when I started. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Laura, what would you say for that too? Because when you started this, were you even looking initially to like make it as a business, or was it just, hey, I want to share this because I care about this stuff, and it's turned into more of a business for you?
Yeah, I honestly didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't really think, I knew, I was like, okay, I'm just going to like let people know and then kind of see what happens. And I remember the first time, because I share a lot on social media, and that has changed a lot over the years. I started out as like kind of a crunchy holistic, thing. And then recently I've really been focusing in on encouraging medical wives, because again, there's very few resources of encouragement for medical wives, or even fiscally wise medical wives is another very hard category to find. But I would say, so one of the requirements of Beautycounter to maintain your status as an affiliate with them is that you have to sell $750 worth of product every 6 months. Again, average sales $125. So it's really like, looking back, I was terrified of that number. I was like, there's no way. So in 6 months, I'll get, my 25% discount on products. I'll stock up and then I'll peace out, But 6 months later, I was actually well beyond what that requirement was. And I was like, I don't need to worry about that number anymore. And so I think when I realized that like I didn't need to worry about a certain number, I could just authentically share things that were working and I was loving. that kind of freed me up. And so I would say 4 to 6 months into sharing with Beauty Counter, I was like, okay, I want to be a little bit more serious about this. And that didn't necessarily change how I shared then. But I just knew that I just wanted to keep plugging away at it. And it was providing babysitter money for us. It gave me a little bit of flexibility to go to Target and shop, that, and I was like, okay, we do have a little bit of extra cash because I am working at home. I mean, it is true work. Even though a lot of people don't understand, what maybe people who work online are doing. So I would say 6 months in, I felt like, okay, this is for sure something I want to just keep working at. And then, let's see, 2 years ago, so last Christmas, holidays are just like, people go wild over Beauty Counter's holiday sets. And I started realizing how many consistent customers I had who loved what they were purchasing. And I started hearing lots of feedback about how it was helping people's skin. And I was like, I love helping these people. And I have a customer base, that was really exciting. And so I think just over the course from 6 months to 2 years, like it's always, what it has looked like, it's always been different, but I think it just grows my passion for it and what I see that it does in my life financially, but not even just financially, relationally, and all of these things. So I would say 6 months around then when I realized like, okay, this actually does make money. It's not a joke. It's not a pyramid scheme. Like I grew to trust the company. I grew to trust myself in sharing the products. And yeah, so I would say that, like 6 months with consistent work. And I was like, okay, this is something I want to keep pursuing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to see. I think just what you guys have started with and what you guys have taken it to while still doing what matters most to you, caring for your families and meeting those needs. And so, yeah, just giving hope to those who are listening that this is a possibility for you, whether it is something as simple as going to your farmer's market or doing DoorDash or grocery delivery or something like that, or you're taking it more into the long-term perspective of, hey, this is what I'm passionate about and I'm going to pursue doing that. So thank you guys for sharing. Do we have any other questions before we kind of
I
wrap
was going to add something, Courtney,
Yes.
if that's okay. And thank you for sharing your story, Laura. I think that's so awesome. And I think it's great that, you can just fit it in within the nooks and crannies of your life and being a mom and with your husband's work and all that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing I was going to add too is that I think sometimes when, we go to find a side hustle, we have this mentality like, oh, I need to find the right one. And, this is it. I'm going to stick with it. Or, oh, she's tried, 5 or 6 different things and it's not working. Like, don't worry about what other people think. Like, it can take you a little bit. Try some things that, there's no harm in that. Just try some things and see, what you like. You may think you're going to really like something and then you don't like it. And that's okay. Like, just try a few things and see what sticks, kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And, but you're never going to know unless you try. Um, I know I have a couple friends that I say friends. I think all of my friends are like Instagram friends now. Um, but that have like similar lifestyles. But a couple of them do like Stitch Fix, or there's another one called like is it Wannabe or something like that, Wannable. But it's
Mm.
also like a clothing subscription box. And so they pick the clothes for people, but at home. So like they get the person's, clothing card online sent to them, and then they just go through and pick the items. And the warehouse is the one that packs it up and ships it. So they do all of that from home. So maybe you just like fashion, or maybe you like clothes, and that's a fun way to, and who knows, maybe you get a discount with that stuff. I don't know. But like maybe that's a cool thing to do is you can do that literally. There's an app, so like they can do it on their phone, while they're waiting in the car, or something quick and easy like that too. But just try some things and see what you like and not like.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even know that that's how Stitch Fix worked. So that was very eye-opening to me because I just figured it was some big corporate business that did it all. And No, it's
Right.
just somebody at home on their couch who's picking out your outfits, which is really
Well,
cool.
and because I share my Stitch Fix boxes, like, from time to time on Instagram. And so it was one of my followers that messaged, and she was like, I picked that outfit from somebody the other day. So she told me about it. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. I had no idea that that's, so neat. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
so I think Lindsay has a question.
Yes. So, Lindsay, if you
Fine.
can pop on, you can. If not, I will just share it for you.
So how do you build your following? Like, because I had a lot of followers and then I kind of cut a lot of people out of my life when Ryan, my husband, became an officer, just to kind of limit the drama. But
Mhm.
now I'm trying to sell, like I do Young Living. So I've been sharing for like 3 or 4 months, but how do you build that following? Is it just time and consistency? Like, I feel like I'm really bad at talking to people as well. So,
I can say one thing about that, especially since you're talking about Young Living. I think a trap that's easy for people who are in network marketing is to make their niche about their products rather than about themselves. And people want to know you. They don't necessarily want to know about the lemon essential oil. And so sharing, you know, what you're passionate about aside, like what is going to draw someone to you aside from your oils, and then because of their interest in you, then they'll be more interested in your products, which is really an authentic way to build a business. So I would say that is maybe not necessarily helpful to like how to grow a certain number, but how to grow an authentic audience would be like if you're creating reels, create them about something that interests you aside from the oils, and I know another thing is really honing in on what makes you tick can be very basically finding a little niche that you can fit into. So instead of casting your net wide on social media, cast it very narrow to the exact people that you want to hone in on and build relationships with first and foremost. So I can say that. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the number of followers someone has, which that does matter at some level. But I think what's more important is how engaged your followers are. And if you're connecting with them in a very personal way, that matters just as much, if not more, than having 100,000 followers who aren't connected to you.
I think that's really great advice. Like, I could not agree more. Like, from my perspective, even though I am like super niche, not every police wife is going to want to follow me. Not, that doesn't mean that we're going to have that overlap. And so like, that's why I try to share so much of just me in my stories, because again, like what Laura said, people want to know you. So think about like what drew you to Young Living, what made you want, like I use Young Living products. And now I'm going to check out Laura with her beauty counter, because I also have young girls that are asking to look at makeup and like products. Like when we moved into this house, I only use Thieves cleaner. Like that is it. That is all, because of, all the toxins and stuff. But anyways, finding like that why on why you started, and kind of casting that net to, like, you don't want to just be like a mom influencer, or because that is very, very large. So kind of trying to hone in on that niche is important. um, and consistency is huge. So one thing that really helped me though is if you don't feel like you have the time to commit to posting every day, is I batch my stuff. So if you notice, like I'm usually wearing the same shirt in like 7 reels in a row or whatever. And it's because I will get ideas and I text them to myself on my phone. And then I take like an hour or two on Monday or Tuesday mornings and I do my content for an entire week. So I'm only spending an hour or two. And then, and literally I will email the captions to myself, or so everything is done, ready to go. And then that saves a lot of time. So you don't feel like you have to really be present every day. It may seem like people are sometimes, but just batching really helps to get that done so that you can be consistent. A couple things to kind of stay away from is I see a lot of people sometimes fall into the trap of doing like large giveaways and follow these 30 accounts and think like that is going to get you not where you want to go. Because Instagram will like really like nix you. Like the algorithm doesn't like those things. So just doing the true authentic ways of showing up every day, being who you are, and your people will find you.
Mhm.
And I don't know, are you in my closed circle thing, Lindsay, on Instagram?
I don't think so.
I can add you there if you want, but like I talked a couple weeks ago too about even like hashtags. Like you don't want to use hashtags that have like 5 million, you know, that they've been used 5 million times. Like you want to really hone down. And there's little things like that that can help you if you're looking for kind of something specific. You can ask like larger accounts that you connect with that are very authentic as well, even like when you're starting out, to like even give you like a shout out, or try to find ways to connect with people authentically. And a lot of times people get it, like they get that you're just trying to grow, and they don't mind doing like a shout out or um, like that, so that you can maybe get some followers that way. But really it's just the consistency and kind of figuring out your message on what you want to share.
And I remember one thing too, Rebecca told me actually was like Pinterest. I never thought that
Yes.
sharing information about what I'm doing on Pinterest would have so many people following me. But even just within like the last week of me posting, I've had over 1,000 views on Pinterest of
Yep.
all places. And so for you, especially Lindsay, I feel like with the essential oil world, you can share the different recipes or how you use it, or if you even want to focus, like if your niche is more, hey, I'm a police wife, let's see how this affects officers. Well, you can talk about, hey, this is what we use to help my husband sleep because we have 3 kids, or hey, this is the ingredients I use to help my kid that doesn't sleep well, or whatever it is. Sharing that on Pinterest, I was shocked when Rebecca told me that, and I tried it, and it was real. So
Yeah. And like a couple things too, like aesthetic wise, like having your page kind of look generally the same. So when people come across your content, they're like, oh, I've seen that before. Like I've seen that look before. I know who that is, instead of like everything's a different color all the time. One thing that you could do, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if this like is your jam or whatnot, but I see so many people doing things with fall like diffusers right now, or things like that with different scents. Like people obviously like their candles and stuff. I know that I stay away from some of that stuff now because of all the toxins. So maybe you could do like a fall blend that would make, you know, you could do in the diffuser, make your house smell good. Like you can do that in a reel. But yeah, Pinterest is awesome. You can just if you do a Pinterest account, do like a business account. But if you make reels, or you can make like pins, small pins in Canva, and save them as an idea pin. And the idea pins are getting pushed out 10 times faster on Pinterest than regular pins are. And so that drop like that in 1 month got me 200,000 extra views using posting one idea pin a day. So I literally take my same reel and I upload it to Pinterest and I write a 1 sentence caption. It takes 10 seconds and I get 200,000 more views. But if you make it like a regular pin, you just link to your Instagram page and people will come over. And so I get people all the time. I found you on Pinterest. I found you on Pinterest. And
Mm.
some of the pins that they found, I'm like, that pin is 6 years old and really ugly, but they found it. And so Pinterest is a great way. And if you, excuse me, maybe Lindsay, do you do reels at all?
Yeah, I've been trying to, but they're just like, random people liking it. The likes
Right.
get really high, but not consistent.
Okay. Well, and that's okay. I was just gonna say, if even if you do a reel, and you can also make like just a pin in Canva, like you can use Canva for free. And it could be maybe 3 essential oils that help me sleep or help my toddler sleep or something. and use that as a pin, but then link to your actual post on Instagram or link to your reel on Instagram. So you can reuse and repurpose your content as much as you want. So like I'll post the reel as an idea pin, but then I make 3 or 4 different pins that also link to that reel on Instagram. And because it keeps, so I'm all about repurposing. So like just, if you use the same template, change the words on the pin just a little bit, and then it takes 5 minutes and put that out, and it can drive some traffic. Because and the reason I know all of this is when I started, there was only Pinterest. Like 6 years ago, it was Pinterest. It wasn't Instagram or even Facebook. It was Pinterest. So I'm a nerd, and I will like A/B test things that work and don't work. But yeah, Pinterest is kind of a gold mine for sending people where you want them to go. So, and you don't have to have a blog or anything. So you can to whatever. So that's a good way to find some new people. But
Lindsay, too, I wanted to say, you said you don't feel very comfortable like talking on the reels or on social media. I don't know. I can't speak for all of you other ladies, but I know for me, doing any of that was terrifying. Like I just felt like the biggest fool anytime I did anything. It felt really scary. My husband was like, "Oh, like you should try something like that." And I'm like, "I'm gonna look stupid." And you know what? Like it worked though. Like people, and they didn't judge me. They didn't say like, "Oh, you talked too slow," or "You said too many times," or anything like that. It was actually really surprising to me that people were so gracious, I guess. But just an encouragement to you that even though maybe it's not comfortable to you, and you don't even have to go that route, you could just do like the pictures, but to get on and occasionally like force yourself if you want to just like talk to people, I think just shows people your face. They can hear a voice that goes along with it, and it just like breeds that familiarity, so they know, hey, oh yeah, I remember hearing Lindsay talk about this essential oil brand. Oh, I should go check it out and see like what's on sale right now, and go to your account. So that's my only encouragement. It's very awkward for me. I'm still new in this side of it too. But you get more comfortable the more you do it. And if you like show pictures of your kids online too, Laura does this sometimes and it's adorable. And like she'll just have her baby on her hip talking about the product. And I honestly think those are like the cutest ones, to be honest, Laura, because I get to see your cute little guy on your hip and he's just staring at the phone as you do it. But people like that. It makes them feel like they know you more too. So you might feel weird, but I think probably we all feel weird at some points too.
Yeah. One thing I always like to tell girls is if you don't want to show your face on the camera, then don't the first time. Like flip the camera around and show someone while you're talking something in front of your camera without your face, and start there. And then that, honestly, that helps build confidence because you're having to use your voice, but people can't see your face. It's this weird mental thing, you know? And then the next day, like maybe do one slide where you show your face, and then, you know, like just vary it, but start small and don't feel like, you know, oh my word, I have to do 2 minutes of talking on stories. What? You know, like it doesn't have to be all or nothing, you know?
Okay.
That's awesome.
And you could do like a boomerang, like, you know, in stories, like where you're just showing your face real quick with, you know, something, and it's quick and easy, and you're not actually talking or anything like that. I remember when I first started, I kind of thought when I started this, oh, I can just write behind a computer screen and write my blog and no one ever has to see me, and it's great. And that was wrong, because in this community, like people want to trust you. They want to know who in the world you are. And I remember when I started on Instagram, one of the very first things I did was did an unboxing of Shield Box. And so the camera was flipped, and all these people, like 30, 40 people messaged. Of course, the dog is coughing and my husband is coughing. It's all very loud. But I had like 30 to 40 people that were like, your voice is so sweet. How old are you? Like, not in a creepy way, but like it was all these compliments. And I was like, wow, people are actually not horribly mean on the internet. And so then I got more confident, and if you would have told me 6 years ago that I would be doing TikToks, like jumping off my living room couch and things like that, I'd be like, no way, you're crazy. But now it's actually kind of fun. And like, that's like the highlight of my week is doing funny reels and stuff. And
Amen.
yes. And so just trying it out little by little and see what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And um, I like when, well, I was going to say, I like when people show their kids and stuff, but I don't show mine. Like we don't do that. And that's okay. And, it's fine. But I think generally in the world, people are nosy. So people want to see, like, even if it's not your kids, but like they want to know who is that person behind that account. And so that's how they trust you. And that's how they see, like, oh, yeah, that's a real person. And, I want to take advice from her. So, and I think that's how you'll stand out from other people too.
Thank you guys.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we actually went over, which is crazy. This was really fun talking. And I feel like as I got to listen to everybody talk too, it just gives me more information too to help develop and grow. And Laura, I loved like one of the things you said to Lindsay was like just like the baby step of, hey, if you're not comfortable with this, try this first and then a little bit at a time. And I think that's so important when like learning how to grow your business. I feel like there's so many different things that you're learning or trying to do all at once. And I really liked how you kind of just like reminded me the baby steps of just take it one step at a time. So ladies, thank you. Oh, were you going to say something?
Say, even with that, I think one thing that women as business owners, or not even business owners, business runners, it's like if you make a $50 paycheck in a month, you're like, dang it, I wasn't successful this month. But you know what? That $50 covered all your coffees out, or it covered a date night. Like that's a success. Success isn't measured by making $5,000 in a month, and it shouldn't be. A lot of people do measure it that way, but that's just a wrong measure. So just take encouragement that $50 is $50, and that's more than what you would have had if you weren't doing anything.
Good advice. And I know too, when I first started blogging and I realized, oh yeah, you can make money. And I had Google AdSense like set up on my blog, and I got an email. It was like, you got money. And I made 1 cent. But I literally was like, I made money from blogging. Like it was literally 1 penny. But I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I couldn't even withdraw it. You can't withdraw it until you make 100. So I never got that penny. But to me, it was like, wow, I can do this. Like it's 1 stinking penny, but like I can make money, and it shows that I can, work hard. And I did this all by myself. Like nobody helped me. I did this from like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. while my kids were sleeping and my husband was working for 2 years. And I was like, this is crazy. And so, literally 1 penny is more than you had yesterday. So, you start somewhere, and, $50 to some people could mean a lot, especially with, gas prices and everything else. So that could be like a make or break for some people. So any little bit is helpful.
So Rebecca, what's your Instagram handle? I feel like maybe it might be helpful to like share our Instagram handle so people can
you
find.
just type in Proud Police Wife and it'll come up, but it's really Proud P Wife, because when I got started on Instagram, Proud Police was already taken. And the lady that had the account really wasn't active on it. And I was like, is there any way? She was like, no way, I'm not giving it up. But she didn't use it, but it's fine.
Oh.
So it's Proud P Wife, but you can just type in Proud Police Wife and it'll come up.
Okay.
Laura,
Awesome.
where can people find you?
Mine it's Laura Noonan.
Okay.
My name and then just it's in front of it.
Can you spell Noonan for those who are listening?
Yeah. Noonan.
Awesome. And then Lindsay, if you want to share yours too, you're more than welcome on here.
Oh, it's just my name right now, I guess. It's Lindsay Hegestead.
Awesome. Can you spell that for people for your last names too? Because I don't know that we'll be able to see the participant list on this side. So that way, if people are looking for somebody and they listen and they need something with Young Living or essential oils, they know where to find you too.
Yeah. It's HEGGESTAD.
Awesome. And that's Lindsay is her first name. So yes, thank you. And mine is Heroes Financial Coaching. I know you will all be getting this email from me of the recording. And thank you so much for everybody who showed up and just shared. I just think, yeah, that it's so much encouragement to know that we as women, even if we are at home, like, we can do something extra for our family that could bless financially too. And it might take a little while, it might be instant, but just know that, yeah, if there's something you're passionate about, you can do it. And it's encouraging for me to hear from you guys how you've made that work. So thank you. Thank you for coming on. And with that, we will
Thank you.
end
Yeah,
our
thank you for
recording.
putting it together, Courtney.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am going to go ahead and stop our recording now. So